All right, so we just shot 3 targets at varying distances out to 230 yards. In this ARC tip, I'm going to talk to you about how we do that without dialing our scope and having the correct zero to make that possible. All right, I just finished shooting with my stock rifle here. This is a standard AR-15 with a red dot sight mounted. It's a Leupold LCO, and it's at 2 inches above my bore. I'm using 55 grain ball ammunition, as you see here, through that specific system. The next one is the limited category. Limited category, I'm shooting a Leupold 1 to 4.5 powered scope. It's 2.7 inches above the bore. And on that rifle, I'm actually using Hornady's 73 grain ELDXs. The last rifle is in the open category. This rifle here has a bipod in place. I have a Leupold 2 to 10, and I have a piggyback mounted red dot sight as well. In this rifle, I'm using Black Arc's 80.5 grain burger load. All 3 of these rifles fit in different categories in ARC. And what I'm going to show you now is that they also require different zeros. So let's get to it. When it's time for me to check my zero, I'm going to head out to the 100-yard range here, load my rifle, make sure I use my sling to get some stability, and then I'm going to try to build a good position. For me to build a good prone position, I try to make sure I've got a lot of shoulder behind the rifle. I've also correctly adjusted my buttstock so it's the right length of pull for me. That's about where I want to be. I don't want to have the stock too long, because when I do that, it's pushing me away from the gun. So I'll come in 1 click. The stock is a little bit longer than a normal stock would be. Get into my sling, then I'm going to put my magazine on the ground. I prefer to shoot either from a mat or on the ground. I try not to shoot off concrete when I put my mag on the deck there. Build a strong position. I've got a good hold of the front of my system. Adjust my dot dim enough that I can just see it on the target, and I'm going to take 3 shots. Once I'm finished with that, I'll re-clear my rifle. Then we're going to head down range and check that target. All right, so there's the 3 shots. I'm a little bit right, a little bit low. I've got half MOA adjustments on my scope, and I'm thinking I'm about 1.5 inches right and probably 1.5 inches low as well. So I want to come left 3 clicks. Then I want to come up 3 clicks. All right, now we got to go back and reconfirm. So when I'm confirming my zero, I want to make sure I have as solid a position as I possibly can. I take my time, get a great sight picture, pull that trigger straight to the rear, make sure I follow through, and just make sure I shoot a tight zero. Okay, I'm still not super happy with that, but that's not the worst group with a red dot at 100 yards. So we're going to call it there. Now that I have my zero confirmed, I've moved up to 10 yards because some of the targets you're going to shoot in the ARC competitions are going to be 10 yards. We have to know our height over bore, which means how high I have to put my optic for my rounds to hit in the middle of that target, because I'm going to hit low at this distance if I put my dot in the center of the target. On the far right target, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold dead center so that you see how far below that my rounds impact. So I engage the target with my dot dead center, and you can see how far I am below my point of aim. So now if I take that magazine, you can kind of see that distance, and I move to the 10-yard target that you're going to engage. Look where I need to hold to hit dead center. So somewhere right on this line, if possible. So this time I'm going to shoot 3 rounds holding on that line, and we'll see where those rounds impact. Well, it looks like we're good at 10 yards. Now we got to talk about distance shooting. For the distance portion of this ARC tip, we busted out the open rifle. I'm shooting a Ridgeline Defense rifle with a Leupold 2-10 power scope, and I'm using Black Arc 80.5 grain ammunition. What I've also done is I've inputted all this data. I've got a 100-yard zero on this firearm, and I've inputted that data, and I've got my come-ups for the distance to those targets. I'm using mils, which are slightly different than MOA. 3.43 minutes of angle equals 1 mil. So what's gonna happen is, each time I get ready to engage a target, I'll dial my dope and shoot that target. Let's get loaded up and see what happens. Okay, so once I get down in this prone position, I adjust my bipod just to make sure my mag's not hitting the ground. My bag's squared away. I'm making sure my gun is level. Now I'm ready to engage my first target. Okay, when I get in position, I'm controlling the back of my gun with my left hand. My first target is 161 yards, 0.2 mils up. My next target is 201 yards, 0.4 mils. With left to right wind, I'll favor left on this target. My third target is 233 yards, 0.6 mils. My fourth target is 326 yards, 1.4 mils. Last target, 384 yards, 1.9 mils. This far target I'll hold just off the left edge. So now we've proved our data is good out to 384 yards. I'm pretty happy with that. No matter which division of ARC competition you choose, whether it's open, limited, or stock, you gotta have a solid zero. Get out on the range, be confident in your zeros, and most importantly, if you're gonna go shoot ARC, get out and train. For more information on the NRA America's Rifle Challenge, go to arc.nra.org.